I'd like to bring the September 11th, 2013 meeting to order.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to have your authorization to have today is September 11th. I was wondering if you could have a moment of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance in recognition of those who perished in 2011.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Thank you.
If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Let's have a moment of silence in reference to September 11th, 2001. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Posenel. Commissioner Selberg.
Here.
Commissioner Buck.
Here.
Commissioner Azarmi.
Here.
Commissioner Walker.
Here.
Commissioner Coletta.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Simons.
Present.
Commissioner Gordon. And Chairman Flouché.
Present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Just a few announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request form, which is also located in the lobby table next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak must be completed for each item you would like to speak on, including sub-items. Please note that there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using these stairs. There is also a ramp located at the audience's left. If anyone has any written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to use at today's meeting, please have 17 copies or give your item to staff member in the back. She's back there. And make sure that it's clearly marked. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are sitting at the table in the front with microphones during the meeting. If you have any questions, please see the staff member located at the back of the auditorium who can meet you in the lobby to discuss the matter. Staff members are up front. A timer will be activated and all speakers are limited to 2 minutes to make their presentations and statements. Everyone, please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate, including pagers. If you do need to receive a phone call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask that the audience refrain from talking to one another during the meeting and presentations. The Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items will be recommended, those items that are recommended to that the Commission makes will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, October 7th at 9:30 a.m. in this same location, with the exception of items that are continued. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative campus and building are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, soda, coffee, etc. is allowed. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch at 1 p.m. Approval of last month's minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review those? If there are no corrections or comments, I'm looking for a motion to approve. We have a motion and a second to approve the August minutes. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
Yes.
abstain. I wasn't here. May I abstain from the vote because I was not here for that meeting?
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, make a note of that, John. Okay. Consent consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion for the consent agenda to,
Second it.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 2.
Item 2 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to BOS Resolution Number 2012-161, which set forth a rezone of Assessor's Parcel 402-35008 from an AR Agricultural Residential 1-acre minimum lot size zone to an R1 Single-Family Residential Zone, to substitute a record of survey for a parcel plat and remove a requirement regarding the existing septic system in the Littlefield vicinity. Staff recommends the approval of the amendment as indicated in the staff report. This is one where a set of conditions for a parcel plat was required. The surveyor who prepared it was from out of state, apparently didn't recognize the difference between a record of survey and a parcel plat, recorded a record of survey, which under the circumstances provides all the information that's really required. There was also an issue of an existing septic system and needing it permitted. It still needs that permit, but the buyer of the other parcel is basically held up by the inaction of the seller. So this will allow them to go forward with their plans and still require the owner of the existing property to comply if they decide to do anything else with it. With that, I'll leave it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no speakers. Is the applicant present? The applicant is not present. Any questions or comments on item number 2? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the staff recommendation for agenda item 2.
We have a motion and a second for item number 2. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of Assessor's Parcel Number 402-77010C from an AR-10 Agricultural Residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR-9A Agricultural Residential 9-acre minimum lot size zone to conform the zoning to the existing parcel size in the scenic vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 3? We have no speakers on item number 3. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 3. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 4A.
Yes, Commissioner Chairman and Commissioners, thank you. Item 4A is an evaluation of a request for amendment to the Mohave County General Plan from UDA NC Urban Development Area Neighborhood Commercial and UDA GC Urban Development Area General Commercial Land Use designations to a UDA CR Urban Development Area Commercial Recreation Land Use designation and an amendment to the Virgin River Communities Area Plan from NC Neighborhood Commercial and COM General Commercial Land Use designations to an HDR High Density Residential Land Use designation to allow development of a recreational vehicle subdivision and amend exhibits 6.4 and 6.5 of the general plan to match for assessor parcel numbers 402-32-140, 170, 171, and 172 in the Desert Springs vicinity. A little background, you did, at your August 14th meeting, this body recommended approval of this item to the Board of Supervisors. At the Board of Supervisors' August 5th meeting, they heard it, and at that meeting there was a petition of objection submitted. And based on The board's decision, they recommended come back, or they asked that it come back to the Planning Commission for additional review and input. Staff recommends approval as described in the staff report. One thing, we did receive an additional email comment this morning. You have that, should have that in your folder at your desk. That was one in favor of the item. So with that, we're opening any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Okay. Would you like to address the commission or wait? We have several speakers. I'll wait for rebuttal. Okay, thank you. Patty Nguyen?
My name is Patty Nguyen, and last night at 10:52 p.m. I was sent the email that I believe, John, went to you, that they have just mentioned is in your packet, and I don't know if you've had a chance to read that, but I was asked if I would come down today and read that, so is it okay if I do that?
You're fine, go ahead.
Okay. Dear Mr. Ortman, this is actually from Sharon L. Hansen. I am the property owner trustee of APN 402-32-112 and 113, or 4010 East Farm Road, southeast of I-15 in Desert Springs. I just learned on Monday of the Mohave County Planning and Zoning Commission hearing being held tomorrow, September 11th, 2013. I am hoping this email will get to you in time to be recorded at the hearing regarding the rezone request made by Mr. Monty Holm of Stuygen Property Leasing, LLC. My father, Wayne Hansen, constructed and operated I-15 Storage, a 99-unit self-storage facility at 4010 East Farm Road, and has served the Virgin River and Mesquite communities for the last 10 years. He passed away on June 22nd of this year, and the property is now solely owned by the Wayne Hansen Family Trust. As trustee, I would like to be put on record that our family is strongly in favor of this rezone for the following reasons. The economic increase to the area would be significant to Mohave County as well as to the local community, as the development would mean an increase in job opportunities. Perhaps most important to our family, given the nature of our business, is that there would likely be an increased need for self-storage, and I-15 storage will be ready to meet that need. There would be an increased beautification of the land near I-15, which has been mentioned as a priority in the Virgin River Community Area Plan. My occupation in the area of community development, and I work for Salt Lake County in the state of Utah, I understand the importance of citizen participation, and I believe it would instill a sense of community and continue to bring the residents together on issues that are important to them and help to further define the Virgin River Communities Area Plan. Having taken the time to thoroughly read over all the documentation provided in the hearing packet, I would also like to comment on the petition to block the rezoning made by Mr. Bruce B. Rognan, and also the letter of opposition made by a closer neighbor of mine, Mr. David Mohave. If you would please take into consideration these opinions. The petition to block the rezone was clearly made without full due diligence being performed beforehand, which I found to be highly unprofessional. I identified the following contradictions in the alleged reasons stated in the petition as being the basis for denial. Remove rural open space of 1 residence per acre, which is why we chose to live here. I find it odd that many of the signers of the petition live on parcels that are under 1 acre. It violates existing legal documents set forth in Desert Springs Township Trust. However, in the staff report findings of fact, it reads, the proposed action in effect will comply with Mohave County General Plan and the Virgin Area Community Area Plan as proposed. I am confident that the staff at Mohave County has completed due diligence in this instance. I would like to commend Mr. Holm in giving full disclosure of his communications with Mr. Rognan, wherein Mr. Rognan is very clear about his true intent behind the petition to somehow obtain the greatly desired right-of-way to underground water. I am appalled at the manner Mr. Rognan has attempted to strong-arm Mr. Holm into his idea of a win-win agreement. Lastly, I am quite concerned that Mr. David Mohave of APN 402-32011 is opposing the rezoning because having a housing development put in will cause problems with shooting his guns in open range. After doing some research, I see that with the exception of the approximately 250 feet of Willow Road that faces Arizona State property that continues due south away from the proposed RV development, this area is completely zoned for residential already. I'm sorry, but this letter of opposition just scares me as a property owner just 1/2 mile away. I sincerely appreciate your consideration of these late comments. Sharon L. Hansen.
Thank you. Judith Hansen?
I'm not Judith. She's sitting there on my
Okay,
side.
I seen the note where she was.
Yeah, she's feeling ill. I talked with John Montgomery last week.
Please state your name.
Oh, my name is Bruce Rognan, property owner, Desert Springs. Borders the Steigen proposed zoning change. And I've asked, John said I could get a little zip drive sent here, and it's on this computer, if I could use that to show you some illustrations of
Okay,
what I want to talk
go
about.
ahead.
Okay, thank you. First of all, this should have been handled, like we said at the August 14th meeting. I apologize for not doing that due diligence. I don't even know what was going on. I just found out about it right before the Board of Supervisors meeting. I had no way of knowing about it. The information was sent not to my address as the homeowner and not to my post office box that was on file here, but it was sent to a previous owner. And when I found out about all that, I luckily came in time for the Board of Supervisors meeting. Is it up there? Okay, next slide, please. The next slide, let's keep going a little quicker. So I put a petition together, and I got 13 members at that time of the community, landowners within the 200 feet circle. Didn't get all of them because some of them were out of town. A lot of people just live there. So I got 3 more additional. They're actually in the car. I forgot to bring it in here. 3 more names, the same petition explaining that. Every single person that signed it, except for one, did. I heard through John Montgomery that one did rescind that signing that. I don't want to spin. Let's skip to the next slide here. Do you have access to that on your computer? Can you see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, all right. The numbers that were read earlier of the Steigen property are completely different zoning than what I have, what was sent out on the letter by Mr. Holm. I have it down on there that there was RM, 4A, and an AR, which is not at all what he read. I'm very confused about that issue, but that's not for this. It's not a main issue here. See, my time is running out. What I just want to talk on behalf of those 15 people now that have signed that speaks for every single one except for 2 people in that area. We are against having an RV park there. We like the open space. We like the quiet. We like the dark night skies. That will completely change that. We want to have access. I think I hear my time
Okay,
going
just
down.
finish your thought.
Okay. Can I just go into my next piece for speaking for Judy?
That's fine.
It'd be
Go
just
ahead.
short. All right.
John, go ahead and reset it.
So there is the way, and why I didn't get notified. This is one slide of where Mr. Holm posts his no trespassing sign. Next slide. You can see in just a very little score. It's taken from exactly the same direction, the same angle. You can see the other sign tucked behind the bushes. You couldn't see it. How would I see that sign? Plus, the fact I wasn't mailed to it. When I talked to the owners of the property, they were even unaware of the first zoning that happened years and years ago. Perhaps the same way no one objected because they did not know. We're a 3.5-hour drive to come down here, and that's just it's an issue. It's a problem. And so on behalf of those people that are still calling me and talking to me all the time, wanting me to come down and push, and we're going to have more coming down. Just didn't work out with scheduling and so on. But the whole proposal speaks to, let me just skip ahead here. So I just got so much to cover, and there's just not enough time to go through. Let me skip down to, I'll read exactly some of the words from some letters from one of the people that could not come. One person wanted to build a a retreat there on the property where they would restore ancient Native American rituals, particularly from the Mohave, and utilizing places that they've had an actual Indian archaeologist and other people there to determine and value that that is the right, it's a proper place. And with having all of that closeness, it's just right borders the property of Stygem, right next door. I mean, that's the line. It would completely damage that ability to do that. Plus, that income, that's financial impact on that person who bought that property, and specifically being able to do that, along with the sewer issue, which has never been resolved, which I have a lot of documentation here that with all the caliche and with all the rock that we have under there and with all the problems that there are, I've talked to the two leading people in that community about sewer, both in the sewer board, and don't see how that can be handled. So again, I have so much more, and I apologize that I can't speak to everybody's remarks.
I appreciate that. Could you get down to what your real objection is to the land use change?
The high use, we're going to have 96 proposed sites right there in that middle block, and there's houses around there. It's going to impact them in terms of property value. All these things were spelled out in the petition, which I assume they all received a copy of the petition. The lighting situation, the traffic, noise situations, just loss, a severe, significant loss for our way of life, why we're there in the first place. And when Mr. Holm purchased that property, one can only assume that's what he purchased that for too, because it wasn't zoned in any other way. He's asking for an exception to that, and the neighbors don't want that. The neighbors are opposed to that. And again, I apologize that that wasn't happened earlier, but we just did not know about that meeting on that day.
Okay.
Or we could have handled it. And I apologize because this is extra time on your part, and these people have been wonderful to help me to understand what's going on. I appreciate it so much.
Okay. Any questions from the commission to the speaker?
Yes.
Crystal?
You were talking about the piece of property that someone had bought as an Indian for ceremonial and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. We do know that we have after dark lights zoning, and you're talking about that would impinge, with the lights and everything at night, you wouldn't get any sleep. So that takes care of that. But don't you think the acreage that these people want to do a ceremony on would also impinge? You sound like you're for the people that would want to do ceremonies and rituals and stuff on this piece of acreage that they bought it for, but that's also traffic, that's also noise, that's also lights. So, I hear that you're standing up for one, but not wanting the growth of another.
In this case, it's not a large ritual kind of thing. That's not the purpose of it.
But it's still the same concept that you'd be interrupted.
It's utilizing the lights that are in the sky, the stars.
Okay,
the
but-
heavens. That's the only lights. And
Okay,
it's just like
but
two
these people are
or
going to
so.
utilize that too because
One
we have
speaking at a
dark.
time, okay?
You're going to also utilize that same stars at an RV park because there is a ordinance that prevents so many lights on after dark.
I do not know what that ordinance is, but I do know that there are street lights that are going to be there, and those street lights would diminish the ability to see the stars. We've got one neighbor, there's one neighbor I have that his lights, he's got a big shining bright light, and that impacts the light, just one light.
Okay.
So that is a significant thing, but there won't be many people there. That's not an issue at all. Of
Okay.
having-
The lighting is not an issue for land use issue anyway. The dark sky ordinance would come into play when they start dealing with the lights with the building department, so let's don't get hung up on
Okay, all right.
lights. Any additional questions from the commission to the speaker? Thank you very much. Let's see. That's 4B. All right, we have no more speakers. That's the same one.
the same one.
Yeah. We have no additional speakers on item number 4A. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question for the staff. You mentioned that the Board of Supervisors returned it back to us. What was the reason for that? I'm a little bit confused about.
Yes, Chairman and Commissioner, thank you. There was the petition that's in your packet that Mr. Rognan had presented to the Board of Supervisors, and my understanding is that the board, based on that petition, asked that it be brought back to the Planning Commission.
Is that the same petition that we have received?
Yes, that's that same petition. I believe it's 4 pages or so. That's the same petition
And
that you
the
have in
Board
your
of
packet.
Supervisors had the opportunity to review this petition?
Let me let you speak to Ms. Ballard, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, there were 2 reasons that the Board of Supervisors returned this back to the commission. First of all, they had submitted to them, as Mr. Morris noted, a petition with several signatures on it that this commission had not seen. You'd not seen those objections. The second reason is that Mr. Rognan, there were some notice issues with him receiving notice at a Idaho address versus an Arizona address. I think he mentioned that briefly in his testimony before the commission. So they also returned this particular item back to the commission in order for him to be properly noticed and give him time to speak to the commission before the board actually considered this, the commission's final recommendation to them.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm glad that Ms. Ballard, clarified that, because I would be very disappointed of Board of Supervisors if they would just return it back to us based on just the petition, because the petition has no merit.
Right.
It is basically all the questions or concerns are going to be dealt with by the Public Works and also with the state entities and all the jurisdictions. Our commissions right here is a land use ordinance, and we need to make sure that it is complying with the ordinance that we have. And I don't see any discrepancy on that. It's very consistent. Our job is not about water. Our job is not about finding who is right, who is wrong, or the view or the darkness of the sky or anything like that. We need to make sure that this item is consistent with the land use ordinance, and in my opinion, it is consistent.
I have just one question, Chris. You said something about it was sent to an Arizona address instead of Nevada, is that what you said?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the other way around, Mr. Rognan's address at the time was in Arizona. He owns 2 pieces of property, and in spite of his efforts to change his address with Mohave County and the assessor's office, the addresses that showed up on the property were either, one was for a prior owner. The second one showed his address as being in Idaho. And so those were the letters that were sent, the notice letters that were sent by the applicant. One went to Idaho, the other one went to a prior owner.
And he resides where?
Mr. Rognan now resides in the Desert Springs area of Arizona.
Okay, thank you.
The applicant reserved the time to come.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Would the applicant like to come down and say a few words, please?
Morning. George Tomiskas, I'm the owner of Mazzone Engineering in Mesquite, Nevada, and I've been the engineer on that project now since 2004. When that was, the engineering was completed, the studies were completed, the permitting and the approval of Mohave County was completed to construct a 176-unit RV, not a subdivision, but a rental park. That was ready to go to construction. They even paid the fees for grading and whatnot. Economy cropped up. It was put on the back burner. Resurrected now with a subdivision concept now where people can actually own the lots. Build an RV, bring their RV in, a park model, whatever. You have the concept of lot ownership and obviously the pride that goes with that. The subdivision was downsized from 176 lots to 96 lots. And we're in the process of doing the engineering on that. And obviously the first thing was the rezone. And this 11th hour petition came in, which was a shock to all of us. Prior to this, all permits, they brought up the problem of sewage. We have an ADEQ approved sewage system for that. It expired, but we're in the process of renewing it. Every issue of flood control, erosion, traffic, there is going to be no lighting. It's, they're going to be in individual homes. Access is all out on Fleet Street. Palm Drive, where most of these people live, is going to be totally segregated by a block wall. So there really is no issues here. And when I read Mr. Rognan's petition, I said, wow, what's going on here? Where did total misinformation in it? He was quoting a 400-unit RV park going in there, and crime and pollution and you name it. Come to find out that basically he has his own agenda on this, and in subsequent emailing and conversations with Mr. Monty Holm, the owner, his agenda came to light that he's looking for water rights from a pond that's on Mr. Holmes' land. He wants to use that for irrigation for his parcel downstream. And he cites this win-win situation where if Monty grants him those water rights, he will remove this petition. So he's essentially blackmailing Mr. Holm, utilizing the goodwill of the neighbors who were totally misinformed. And I talked to a number of them. They came into my office, total misinformation they had on the project, sewage being one of them, lights, things like that, access. Some of them rescinded the petition. 3 of the people that are on that petition don't even own property there, they rent. So in essence, the petition, as I see it, is just BS, and it shouldn't even be considered.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Any additional questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Carl, he came up to the front.
Public hearing is over with right now.
I have a rebuttal.
It's not a court.
All right, you got a minute.
I don't know.
Please state your name.
Bruce Rognan. I never said Monty Holm is going to put up a 400-unit RV park. Never was. I had no idea how many he was going to put in. I went according to what I knew. All I knew is the zoning he requested allowed him to do up to 400 based on 16 acres that he owns. I had no other information. I was given no other information. I had to go as a grassroots guy to try to figure that out, and that's the best I could come up with. There were no plans. I had no access to anything else. So I just want to clarify that. And the 3 names, I don't know who those 3 names are, but I verified all property owners. In fact, there's one on there, Charles Snowbarger, who when I downloaded the same list that Monty used to print the labels, his name was not shown on the printing labels. So he was never notified of the last meeting or this meeting, and he is a landowner who also borders my property. So there still are glitches in that system of people getting notified of these meetings and hearings.
Thank you. That concludes the public hearing portion of this item. Any additional questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Item 4A.
I move we accept the staff recommendation for approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for item 4A. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 4B.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. 4B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor parcel numbers 402-32-140, 170, 171, and 172 from AR, agricultural residential 1 acre minimum lot size, C120M, neighborhood commercial 20,000 square foot minimum lot size, and RM4A, multiple residential 4 acre minimum lot size zones to an SDCRE, Special Development Commercial Recreation Zone, to allow a recreational vehicle subdivision in the Desert Springs vicinity. And this has obviously is 4B, so the same things for the petition and all still were submitted in regard to this case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The applicant is present. Judith Hansen. No? All right. Bruce, you want to come back up? No? Patty Nguyen? Okay. Any questions of the commission? We have no speakers on this item. I'll entertain a motion on item 4B.
I'll make a motion to approve according to staff recommendations.
Second. We have a motion and a second for item 4B. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question for Director Hunt. Since the change that we have that, your department is going to take care of the issues of the sewer and all that, is this application later on comes to your department or is it going to go back to ADQ?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Azarmi, the board approved development services taking over the septic approval and sewers, and this is a process that will take about 6 months. So in the meantime, Environmental Health Division of the Health Department is doing that, and right now we're working on a delegation agreement, changing the delegation agreement with ADEQ and training our building inspectors. So it will be about a 6-month time period, and until then, it's still under the Health Department Environmental Health Division.
Thank you.
Item 5.
Evaluation of a subdivision preliminary plan for Mesquite. Are we good now?
Thank you.
Okay. Evaluation of a subdivision preliminary plan for Mesquite Village RV subdivision, tract 3533, being a proposed subdivision on assessor's parcel numbers 402, 42014, and 015, located in a portion of the Arizona Strip vicinity. This preliminary plan has about 39.28 acres and will be subdivided into 313 recreational vehicle lots and parcels for drainage, retention, community center, and park areas. The minimum lot size will be 3,150 square feet. The roadways will be dedicated to the public, and the project is proposed in one phase. Staff recommends approval of this preliminary plan as outlined in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? We have no speakers on the item.
Engineer.
Any questions or comments of the applicant? No. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on item number 5.
I move we accept staff recommendation on report number 5.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 5. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item number 6.
Item 6 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 120-04031 from an AR36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to a CRE commercial recreation zone to allow development of a manufactured home park in the Desert Hills vicinity. This item was heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission at its regular meeting on July 10th, 2013, and continued to the September meeting of the Commission to have the applicant provide clarification regarding the provision of water and sewer service for the project. There were 30 letters of objection. I believe that is up to 33, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe the letters from the utilities have been sent to the Commission. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? We have 2 speakers on the item. Mr. John Gall.
John Gall, Arizona Land Quest. Good afternoon or morning, Chairman Fouché, ladies and gentlemen of the Commission. Just wanted to get back to you after the last meeting where you continued us to resolve the water issue. We have in your possession a letter from EPCOR, the water provider. Line 3 clearly states that the water is available and that we do not have to purchase additional Colorado River water rights as long as we meet the other typical development requirements to pay the line extensions and the shared well agreements and other items. And I also wanted to kind of dispel the community's fear that the project would look like the existing Desert Hills Estates mobile home that are out there. That was a old project that has quite a few older models that hasn't been maintained. And we wanted to show you a sample of what Cavco Homes of Arizona builds with the garages and the proper placement of a modern manufactured home park. These are not low-end units that you see out in the rest of the community. It's a very well-designed product that will be custom built for this area and will be conforming to the surrounding uses. In fact, it'll be better than the existing manufactured homes that are out there. Not quite as nice, obviously, as the single-family homes that are built, but it fills the need for workforce housing, which, as many of you know, in Mohave County, we have a service-based economy, especially in Lake Havasu, where the average resident can't afford to purchase an upper-end home like those at North Point. And this is a viable alternative that will provide adequate housing where they have a sense of security and ownership. And with that, I'm open to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Gall, I'm glad that you brought up the issue about the quality of the housing that you're going to be using there, because in one of your reference to reserve in Parkway of Mohave, so I just want to make sure that the commissioners are clear on that. So basically what you're saying is it is going to be upgraded, and I know that we received an email with few pictures there. Do we have those pictures available?
They just showed them a minute ago.
Yeah, so basically these are the samples of the company that you're going to be using for that particular project, right?
Correct. And I spoke to Mr. Stadler, the engineer on the project, who filled the application out, and the property owners, and that was just used as a typical layout, not necessarily an example of what the project would look like. Cavco Mobile Homes is an Arizona-owned company. They bought Fleetwood Homes out of bankruptcy. They're providing jobs to Arizonans, and they're actually building product in Yuma that they're selling on a BLM project for $300,000 a unit. So these units are going to be very high caliber, very high quality, and again, provide a need for workforce housing.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Mr. Gall.
Thank you.
Elio Kepler?
Khalif.
I'm sorry, my name is Elio Khalif with First American Investment. Two apologies. I got in last night about 9 o'clock. After I was done with dinner, I get to the hotel and I left my luggage back in Scottsdale. So that was my first apologies. Second one, sorry I could not make the last meeting. I was with my son in camp in Utah. So, but I'm here to answer any questions. We are in agreement with staff on the project. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions, or our engineer, Ray Stadler, is here to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I have a question for you, Leo. What would be the selling prices of these houses out there?
We're just in the process of getting into that right now, but I would say they would probably, it's hard to tell just until we find out the final engineering numbers on it and everything else. But they would be, it's hard to tell at this time.
I think what he's looking for is a range.
Anywhere from starting from 85 to 200,000.
Thank you.
Any additional questions of the speaker or the engineer? Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we have no more speakers. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I believe that, I'm familiar with the area. This project is very consistent with, the neighboring properties, and also with the quality of the Cavco that is going to come in. That was the only concern I had, because the quality of the products on reserve was not really up to par. So I'm glad that they did that. With that, I'll make a motion to approve for a staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 6. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7.
Item 7 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 227-21063 from a C2 general commercial zone to a CMO, commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone for storage of equipment and other allowed uses in the South Mohave Valley vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone as indicated in the staff report. I believe there is one objection. No, there's, one letter of opposition and a petition opposing with 4 signatures. Thank you.
Do we have to?
Is the applicant present? The applicant is not present, and we have no speakers. Any questions of the commission to staff? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Item number 7.
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendations.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second for item number 7. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8.
Item 8 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel 306-41007A from an AR-10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to AR, AR-2A, and AR-5A agricultural residential 1, 2, and 5-acre minimum lot size zones to allow creation of smaller residential parcels in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 8? Would you like to address the commission? Okay. We have no speakers on the item. Any comments or questions of the applicant or staff from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept the per staff recommendations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 8. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item number 9, or motion carries, I should say. Item number 9.
Item 9 is an evaluation of a request for a zoning use permit on assessor's parcel 306-17064 for a secondary residence in an AR-2A agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present on item number 9? Okay, would you like to address the commission? No? Okay, we have no speakers on item number 9. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve with staff's recommendations.
Second. We have a motion and a second for item number 9. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 10A.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you. 10A is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mohave County General Plan from an RDA, Rural Development Area Land Use Designation, to an RDA GC, Rural Development Area General Commercial Land Use Designation for a portion of assessor parcel number 354-43-008 to allow a commercial greenhouse use in a Cedar Hill Ranches vicinity, Mohave County. Staff recommends approval as outlined in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item 10A? Okay, would you like to address the commission? Okay, we have no speakers on item 10A. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for item 10A.
I'll make a motion to approve 10A.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for item 10A. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 10B.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you. Item 10B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of a portion of assessor parcel number 354-43-008 from an AR-10A, agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size, zone to a C2 general commercial zone to allow a commercial greenhouse use in the Cedar Hill Ranches vicinity. Staff recommends approval as outlined in the staff report. Thank you.
All right, the applicant is present. We have no speakers on this item. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve with staff recommendations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for item 10B. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11A.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you. 11A is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mohave County General Plan from an RDA, Rural Development Area Land Use Designation, to a UDA LI, Urban Development Area Light Industrial Land Use Designation for assessor parcel number 308-31-014A to allow a feed store and future trash and recycling facility in the Santa Claus Acres vicinity. Staff recommends approval as outlined in the staff report. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I need to excuse myself, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Is the applicant present? I think the applicant just left.
The applicant just walked away.
We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item 11A.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and a third.
Third, fourth.
On item 11A, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11B.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you. Item 11B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor parcel number 308-31-014A from an RE1A residential recreation 1 acre minimum lot size zone to a CMO commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone to allow a feed store and future trash and recycling facility in the Santa Claus Acres vicinity. Staff recommends approval as outlined in a staff report. Thank you.
We have no speakers. The applicant is the applicant here, actually? Sean? Okay. We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept per staff recommendation.
Second. We have a motion and a second for item 11B. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 12.
Item 12 is an evaluation of a request for a zoning use permit on assessor's parcel 208-05-133 through 136 for a church in an A general zone in the Yucca vicinity. Staff recommends approval as indicated in the staff report. We do have one letter of opposition on this one. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Would you like to address the commission?
I am Wayne Basie.
Thank you.
I'm the pastor of the First Southern Baptist Church in Yucca, and we have some property that came available to us, and we've made the application. I don't really need to say a whole lot, except we want your approval. So, and I do have some people that came.
I see that.
To speak.
Thank you very much. We have 3 speakers on the item. Walter Gould.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Walter R. Gould. I live in 11872 South Carroll Road in Yucca. My wife and I would like to see a church building there in Yucca since there is no church. We meet in a little place there, and our facilities are to where we have to move chairs back and forth whenever we get done. But anyway, the property would be a welcome plus, I feel, to the community. Not only would it bring a community fellowship, but it also would probably include a more community type of place, meeting place that others could come and have meeting places and be able to share. And my wife and I are in favor of it, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Pam Valdez?
Good morning.
Please state your
My name
name.
is Pam Valdez. I live out on 19400 Javelina Road in Yucca, actually about 25 miles out from Yucca. When my husband and I first discovered Yucca, it was one of the very few towns throughout Arizona, or townships throughout Arizona, that did not have a church. And the community itself, as you drove through it, was just an oppressed community. We met another couple out there at the time that had also been praying for a church in Yucca. So we joined with them and starting a prayer group up. The following year, 2006, we met with a missionary, Tommy Thomas, from the Arizona Southern Baptist Convention, who helped us establish a community meeting. And everyone was invited out. We had an attendance of about 30, somewhere between 30, 40 people in favor of the church and discussing the possibility of establishing a church. The local elementary school in Yucca was very generous in renting space to us so that we could meet in their auditorium or their cafeteria to have services twice a week. Our attendance is steadily growing at the church. We have drawn people together where before they were very isolated and disconnected. So it's been a noticeable improvement in the community. The church has strengthened the community by, like I say, drawing people together. The cosmetics of the area has improved considerably. And we also offer services to the community, which is a benefit through the church, such as carpentry, food assistance, medical needs, and in-home services. So there's a lot of benefits to having the church in Yucca. And that's one of the reasons why we're hoping that you'll approve this land, that we can have our own facility, much needed for storage, for our music equipment, for office supplies. We need classrooms for Sunday school for children and adult classes. And so that's what we're hoping, to continue to do the work that we have done in Yucca and offer a positive influence to the community.
Thank you. Joyce Covey?
My name is Joycelyn Covey. I live at 1755 West Knox Drive in Yucca, Arizona. I've lived in Yucca for about 7 years. When I first moved there, the church was very small. Since I have moved there, I've joined the church. The church now has expanded about 10 times what it was when I first moved here. It's a vibrant church. It holds unencumbered property at this site, and a building of its own is centrally located, and it would allow the church to serve the needs of the residents of Yucca who are elderly, sick, and without transportation. Because it being central, it would be very useful, and I hope that you'll approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no additional speakers. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Item number 12.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Item number 12. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I wish every community would have a church like this.
Yes.
I think it would be really helpful.
I totally agree. Item number 13.
Item 13 is an evaluation request for zoning use permit on Assessor's Parcel 206-32015B for secondary residence in an ROA 5A, single-family residential, manufactured homes prohibited, limited animal privileges 5-acre minimum lot size zone. In the Wallapai Mountain vicinity, staff recommends approval as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present?
No, sir, he's back east, and I'm the broker of the transaction, and I'm here to speak on his behalf.
Okay, please state your name.
Barbara Ricca.
Okay.
I wanted to give a little background on this. In 1998, Mr. and Mrs. Ed Wells built a garage and a home on this property. During the course of the building of the actual residential structure, they lived in the garage area. And during that period of time, they had put in the facilities that they needed in order to be able to habitat that, which would be the bathroom and a little small countertop and sink and a stove in order to cook. In 2003, Mr. and Mrs. Ward purchased the home for $460,000. And during that period of time, they never really knew that there was not a permit that had been a problem on the property. After they moved in 2003, Mrs. Ward's mother became very ill, and they moved her here. And Mr. Ward took out the garage door in that first facility and put in a window and put an awning over the front door for his mother-in-law. She has since passed, and they now, he was manager of Ford Proving Grounds and has since moved from the area and is living back east. And once we were doing our due diligence in the process of the sale of the home, we found that we needed a permit on that garage because it had been changed. We then approached Mr. Ward, and my agent approached the Planning and Zoning Commission to find out what needed to be done. And there is a permit. It does need to be inspected and a permit put in place prior to close of escrow. And so we're here to try to get that corrected so that we can pass clear title.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no additional speakers on the item, no questions or comments. Any questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for item number 13.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 13 for staff recommendations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 13. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item number 14.
Item number 14 is an evaluation of an update from the currently adopted Mohave County building codes to the 2012 editions of the International Code Council codes and the 2011 National Electric Code with consideration of recommendations of the Mohave County Building Code Advisory Board. The staff recommends that this item be continued in order to continue the evaluation of the update from the currently adopted Mohave County building codes to the 2012 editions of the International Code Council and the 2011 National Electric Code for a period of at least 6 months, but no more than 1 year, or until the state adoption of the 2012 Fire Code necessitates reconsideration, and to continue to use the currently adopted Mohave County building codes per Mohave County Ordinance 2009-02.
Thank you. I've got a quick question. Do you have any sense of why certain cities have not adopted this? I haven't read through the whole thing, but I'm just wondering what the Achilles heel may be for some of these other communities.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I try to answer that question. The 2012 codes, as I understand, have been adopted by California or in the process, and also Southern Nevada. And most of the counties in Mohave County, I understand it was presented at the Building Code Advisory meeting considering that. And so far, the city of Kingman adopted the 2012 building codes. and it's a process. And we had many meetings with the Building Code Advisory Board, and there were several options that were presented that look at the objectionable paragraphs or sections in the 2012 and address those properly. But the Building Code Advisory Board, for many reasons, wanted to postpone it and actually rehear this item after the Planning Zoning Commission's hearing one more time, and at least they want to continue, or actually they rejected it right now, but then it's going to be brought back to them one more time.
So basically, I think what I'm hearing and what I read is that some of the cities want to change some of the items in the ordinance. Is that what you're saying?
The cities have their, own jurisdictions, and they adopt the code at their own pleasure. Like I said, City of Kingman already adopted it. I understand Lake Havasu is considering, and Bullet City will be considering in time. That's just talking with staff.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Silberg, and myself were part of this Code Advisory Board committee and just want to add a little bit more to Director Hunt's comments. According to Toby Orr, one of the board members, over 70% of cities and communities in the United States, they adopted 2012 one way or another. There was a lot of concern about the hidden cost in there because of some of the features that, for example, fire sprinkler system or residential home, arc fault circuits inside, all the rooms and everything. And this list was going on and on. So they were concerned about the economical impact of this code on the construction in this area and the demographic that we are in. So basically the board, in my opinion, took all the items that was harmless to the economy and was unessential out of the 2012, but yet board was not totally convinced about some of the additional items that would be embedded in the 2012. So there were basically two choices. One choice was to take IBC 2012 and take some of the items that are not compatible to our economy and to our area and take it that way, or take IBC 2006 and go back and take some of the items that are suitable in 2012 added to 2006. So based on those two, the board decided to go the second route and send it back to P&Z Commission and Board of Supervisors to go in that second option. But reviewing the proposal by the staff, and I concur with them, to adopt 2006 and go back and try to choose items from 2012 and add to it, it's a backward motion. I think that, we have already 2006 in place, and I believe that, what we should do is to patiently wait for the state to adopt, the Fire Code 2012. Then we are forced to, by state law, to go back and look at it. But this time around, 2012 is already dissected by the board, and we have to just be patient, 6 months, 12 months, or whatever it takes to take that action. And I think that's where we are right now with that IBC Code 2012.
Okay. Any other comments? Do we need to, what do you want to do?
We have to make a motion to go with the staff recommendation, so they would be able to.
What's the 6 months about?
Well, it's 6 months to 12 months, tabling it basically until, the state is.
Okay, so we need a motion to table it for 6 months.
Well, I think the staff recommendation includes that.
Okay.
So if we just,
Does it? Okay.
like one of the commissioners, if you
All
want.
right. All right. Any additional questions or comments on item number 14?
I'll make a motion if you like.
Okay.
Since I was on the committee, I make a motion to approve item 14 per staff recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 14. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That concludes our public hearing. Call to the public. Any speakers? Seeing none, I'll entertain, do we have any monthly reports that we need to talk about? Ms. Ballard? No, we have no monthly reports. Anything from the commissioners? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned.
Or nothing.